Yo, how good are you at being happy? I've said to myself in the past, just like you might have, something along the lines of, if I can only get this job, car, house, friends, partner, money, then I'll be happy. That once this goal has been achieved, I can finally begin my life as a happy person. But when has your life ever really worked out that way? Think back to when you were a kid. We can all probably remember something we really wanted that we had to wait a long time to get. For me, it was a Super NES. It was released in September of '91 and had to wait until the following Christmas to get mine, which in little kid time is roughly equivalent to forever. So that means I had to spend an entire year like this, thinking about how happy I'd be if I had one at home. And then on Christmas Day, 1992, what happened? Well, actually what happened was I opened only the Super NES, started playing it immediately, and ignored all my other presents. I don't even remember what else I got, honestly, but the bottom line is, boredom was cured. I was now a happy kid. As long as I was playing it, anyway. But what happened after that? I was a happy kid, how come I'm not a happy adult? Should I go play some Super Mario World? Nah, the truth is, I was happy, but that happiness was only temporary. Over time, I got bored with all the games I had, and eventually I wanted something else. So I got a PS1, then later on I got a gaming PC, I got a PS4 after that, then I got a Switch, and now PS5 is out, still not happy, what the fuck, right? Well, let's look at this pattern that I had fallen into. Like most people, I have a track record of identifying things that I think will make me happy, obtaining or achieving them, and then finding out that they really don't. Or at least, not in the way that I thought they would. So that tells me I'm really good at predicting what'll make me happy now, but apparently, I haven't learned to predict what'll make me happy in the long run. And that causes me to think about my expectations. I think a lot of us are hoping for a first-class ticket to happiness. A one-way trip to a place where things are better now, and you never have to look back at all the misery you're dealing with currently. But clearly, shit don't work that way, does it? So maybe it's time to re-examine our expectations. See, you and I, we have the privilege of believing that our lives should be better than they already are. We believe that not only can we live out our dreams, but that we should be able to. That happiness is our right as a human being and that each of us is entitled to a life we can enjoy. The truth, however, is that the universe is wildly indifferent. And if you don't believe me, you can look at every moment of every single day for all of existence. People right now, at this very moment, people at every moment are suffering. There are people whose lives are so much worse than your own that they don't even have the opportunity to view a video like this or sit down and ponder the things I'm asking you to ponder. And the universe is letting it happen. If everyone is entitled to happiness, if everyone deserves happiness, then you gotta ask, why are so many people suffering? The truth is, there's no one around who can really answer that question. So essentially, if anything works in my favor, I should consider myself lucky because there are a lot of people I don't even know about who would love and appreciate the life that I have now compared to their own. But a lot of people are sitting there unhappy with what they do have, me included. In the same way that I thought a Super NES would make me happier, there are people who think that what I have right now would make them happier. And if that's the case, how come I'm not satisfied? Why do I yearn for things that I don't have? And furthermore, why do I expect that those things I yearn for will make me happy? That brings me back to the question I asked earlier. When has your life ever really worked out that way? Have you ever operated that way in the past? Has any one single thing ever brought you everlasting happiness? Probably not. So clearly our expectations for happiness might need some readjustment. And to do that, we gotta ask ourselves, what is happiness? If it's not a destination like we all seem to think it is, then what is it? Ultimately, I think it's a matter of perception. Imagine you had your right arm cut off today, but through some miracle of science, doctors were able to reattach your arm and you gain full function, as though nothing ever happened. You probably have a much greater appreciation for your right arm today than you did yesterday. Suddenly, you're a lot more content with your life than you used to be, but you didn't actually gain anything. In fact, all said and done, your life really didn't change all that much. The only thing that really changed is your perspective. And although I'm not trying to argue that you're actually happier, I think it's safe to say you'd be less unhappy at the very least. So what do you do with that information? If happiness is just a matter of perspective, then why can't we all just be happy? Well, when I thought about this, looking back at my own life, I landed on a simple question. If shifting my perspective can make me happier, then how good am I at shifting my perspective? How good am I at being happy? How do I even practice? I'm trapped in this loop of expecting something to make me happy, finding out it doesn't, and then longing for something else. Meanwhile, I'm ignoring all these things that I do have, luxuries that countless other people in worse situations than me want because they think it would make them happy. So how do I get better at breaking out of this cycle? Wow, thank you. I am cured. Hear me out, alright? Keeping with the metaphor from earlier, looking down at your chopped off and subsequently reattached right arm should prove to you that it's possible for your life to feel better without actually changing anything. Only your perspective. And I think that's possible through genuine gratitude. Look, I've always hated being told this as a kid because it always felt like nobody cared and they just wanted me to shut up. It's almost like they were saying, I've settled for less, so you should too. It feels that way because if I'm anything at all, I'm a genuine person. I have a very hard time lying to myself about the way that I really feel. Yo, you should just be thankful that you have a roof over your head. Thanks. So when I say out loud, for example, something like, man, I'm grateful my ass didn't explode today, it's hard for me to feel actual, tangible gratitude on the spot for my unexploded ass because there's a part of my brain that knows I didn't legitimately feel like my life has been improved by having an unexploded ass. It knows that I'm not any more content just by recognizing that my ass is currently unexploded. And that brought me back to my original question. How good am I at being happy? How good am I at forcing myself to feel genuine gratitude for the things that I have? Honestly, I don't have an easy answer, because if it was that easy, I would have never made this video. I would have been too happy. Wow, thanks. I think the old adage of fake it till you make it holds true, because if you view happiness as a skill, you have to recognize that you're gonna suck at it for a while. When I first started taking a moment to express gratitude for something, I was just going through the motion. I began by saying things like, I'm grateful that I didn't get in an accident today. And while the statement is definitely true, it's not exactly eliminating all my other worries in life. It gives me something to latch onto though. Taking a moment to legitimately think about how much worse my day would have been if I got into an accident has had an effect. See, if your goal is to shift your perspective, then when you think about how you would have had to deal with an accident as far as recovery, finances, missing work, that's giving you an opportunity to explore a different perspective. A perspective you would have had if you actually got into an accident of some kind. Now, while you may not immediately feel genuine appreciation for how much worse your day could have been, you're still getting practice at shifting your perspective. I started doing this every single day, to the point where it became a habit. Now when I get home every day, I'm thankful I made it in one piece, for example, or when I find a good deal at the store, or if I have a positive interaction with someone. Almost without thinking at this point, I take the time to appreciate how things went, even if it's just for a few seconds. I've been doing this for a while and I noticed two things so far, because keep in mind, I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm telling you what I've been doing and whether or not it's working. The first thing I noticed is that gratitude is becoming more and more genuine. If you keep practicing at expressing gratitude, even if you're just going through the motions, I guarantee eventually you'll find something that you do genuinely feel grateful for, and you'll notice the difference right away. And if you make a habit of doing so, the number of those things will increase without you realizing it. At least it has for me. The second thing I noticed is the way I respond to things has changed. I realized one day that when something negative or otherwise undesirable happens in my life, my immediate mental response is to say, wow, I'm so glad that wasn't worse, or I'm glad that wasn't as bad as it could have been. And this isn't something I necessarily set out to change about the way I think. It's just a side effect of getting better at expressing gratitude, which tells me it might be working. Another thing it tells me is I'm probably right about expectations. You can't become a happier person overnight. You have to work at it. You have to get better at working at it. And once it's become a habit, you'll realize one day that things have changed and you're more content with your life. That's not to say that I wake up every day and the birds are singing and it's all Disney princess, but again, that's an unrealistic expectation. What I found instead is I'm generally a lot more chill. I'm getting better at taking the time to savor the good things in life, and I respond to the bad things more effectively. In fact, it even helps with my desire to improve my life, because in the back of my mind, I'm slowly beginning to convince myself that even if I try new things and fail, I'm still going to be pretty content with what I have. which in turn makes me less afraid to fail because now I know I'll respond more productively to failure, and that makes me more willing to take calculated risks and to learn from those failures. You know, one of the things I heard about procrastination is that sometimes you have to address the emotional regulation issues that are behind that procrastination. I think for a lot of people, well, I think for myself, I procrastinated on making my life better due to anxiety. Anxiety over my life not working out, over the possibility that I may never be happy. But the more work that I do to detach my happiness from this life that I hope to live one day, the better chances I have of actually living that life. So really what I think I've realized is that happiness is not a destination, it's a direction, a path you have to walk, and really it's up to you to stay on course. So to sum all these ideas up in just a couple words,